Here's the rewrite in super simple English, casual like we're just chatting over snacks, keeping every single detail and the exact same length line for line. There are times when even the strongest people trip up a little. Gayle King, that happy face so many of us wake up to on CBS mornings, always seemed super strong, relaxed, totally together, and full of hope. She felt like that steady friend in our messy world. But lately, stuff changed. Behind her normal smile was a quiet vibe nobody could really read. A tiny pause in her talking, a little worry in her eyes. And pretty soon, everybody learned that the woman who told so many stories about courage and getting back up was now going through her own tough fight. The woman behind the smile. For years, Gayle King has been way more than just a news lady. She's been like a symbol of staying calm, being real, and pure kindness on American television. But long before the fame, before the bright studio lights of CBS mornings, she was just a curious girl from Chevy Chase, Maryland with big dreams and an even bigger heart. Born on December 28, 1954 to Emmett Scott King and Peggy Tucker King, Gayle grew up in a strong, loving home that cared a ton about education, staying humble, and keeping routines. Her dad was an electrical engineer, and when she was only 6 years old, his job moved the whole family to Ankara, Turkey. For 5 years, Gayle lived there, learning how to fit into a completely different world, an adventure that gave her a big global view way before she ever thought about news. When the family came back to the United States in 1966, Gayle got serious about school and later went to the University of Maryland, College Park, where she earned a degree in psychology. But her future wasn't in therapy offices or regular desk jobs. From early on, she was drawn to people, to their stories, their struggles, their real emotion. So instead of becoming a counselor, she decided to chase storytelling in a different way. Right after college, she grabbed her first TV job as a production assistant at WJZ-TV in Baltimore. That's exactly where fate stepped in. Working right beside her was this young news anchor named Oprah Winfrey. The two women, both super ambitious and tough, clicked instantly and built a friendship that's lasted a lifetime, a bond made of hard work, laughs, and true respect. Gayle's career didn't take off overnight. She started at the very bottom, learning all the tech stuff of TV before she ever stood in front of a camera. After Baltimore, she reported at WUSA in Washington, D.C., then moved to Kansas City to anchor weekend news at WDAF-TV. Every job brought new challenges, new cities, crazy hours, and constant judgment. But Gayle kept going. Her warmth and professional vibe started shining through. And in 1981, she landed her first big anchor role at WFSB-TV in Hartford, Connecticut. It was in Hartford that Gayle really found her rhythm, not just as a TV personality, but as a woman balancing career and family. She bought a house in Glastonbury, raised her 2 children, and became one of Connecticut's favorite news voices. People at home loved her calm style and genuine care. She stayed there for 18 years, becoming a local celebrity before jumping to national television. But what nobody saw off camera was the quiet strength that fueled all her success. Gayle's journey wasn't powered just by fame hunting or ambition alone. It was built on discipline, empathy, and believing that being honest mattered more than looking perfect. From her early days as a production assistant to rising as one of the most recognizable faces in American news, Gayle King was already writing the story that millions would later admire. The story of a woman who could smile through chaos, deliver news with grace, and always remind the world that behind every strong voice is a real human heart. Love, betrayal, and the courage to start over. Gayle King's career success came from grinding and staying profs. But her personal life got hit with one of the worst betrayals a woman can experience. In 1982, she married lawyer William Bumpus, a respected assistant attorney general from Connecticut. The couple seemed to have it all. Good jobs, a beautiful home, and a shared dream to raise a family full of love and structure. Together, they had 2 kids, daughter Kirby in 1986 and son William Jr. in 1987. To everyone looking in, Gayle's life looked perfect. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming in her marriage that nobody noticed. Then came June 24, 1990, a day that turned Gayle's world upside down. She walked in and caught her husband in bed with another woman. That image burned into her brain. Years later, she could still recall the exact date and time she found out, showing how deeply it hurt. She'd later say, half joking but clearly still pained, "I'm not a huge fan of the woman I caught naked with my now ex-husband." Her humor softened the blow a bit, but the pain was real. The betrayal shattered her trust and forced her to face one of life's cruelest truths, that love, even when nurtured, can fall apart without warning. By 1993, the marriage ended in divorce. Gayle suddenly became a single mom raising 2 young kids while keeping up her demanding TV career, yet even through the heartbreak, she refused to let bitterness win. "When my kids were growing up, I did not have one of those homes where I wanted to be their buddy," she once said. "This is not a democracy. Your opinion matters, but I make the decisions." Her strict side wasn't mean. It was protective. She wanted her kids to grow up confident, independent, and clear on right and wrong. Her approach worked. Kirby and William Jr. grew into smart, driven adults who often credit their mom for their strength. Oprah Winfrey, Gayle's closest friend and godmother to her kids, once said, "I've never seen a better mom. He pretty much raised them alone. She's always there for them and she knows where to draw the line." It was a huge compliment from someone who'd seen Gayle at her lowest and her highest. Over time, Gayle turned her pain into resilience. Instead of letting the betrayal destroy her, she used it as fuel to rebuild her life. She poured herself into work, finding purpose in stories and kindness in conversations, but her friendship with Oprah became the anchor that kept her steady through everything. When one stumbled, the other stood firm. They supported each other not just as colleagues, but as sisters connected by trust and understanding. While Oprah's star exploded in Chicago with The Oprah Winfrey Show, Gayle carved her own path in Hartford, choosing stability over instant fame. They talked every single day, sometimes about work, sometimes about parenting, and a lot just to laugh. That connection became Gayle's emotional lifeline. Through laughter, tears, and late-night worries, Oprah was always there, reminding her no storm lasts forever. By the late 1990s, Gayle had regained her balance. She was raising 2 kids solo, crushing it at work, and quietly proving that true strength doesn't avoid pain. It walks through it. She had no idea then, but the discipline she built during those single mom years would become exactly what carried her through much harder challenges ahead. Success and pressure on national TV. By the time Gayle joined CBS This Morning in 2012, she had already faced almost every career obstacle a journalist could imagine. But what made her special wasn't just talent. It was her calm under pressure. That calm shone brightest in her 2019 interview with R. Kelly. As the singer screamed, cried, and insisted he was innocent, Gayle never flinched. Her steady line, "Robert, you're killing me with this," became an instant symbol of masterful journalism. Viewers praised her for staying cool in the chaos, and that moment cemented her as one of America's most trusted news voices. But her job also brought controversy. In 2020, Gayle faced backlash after mentioning Kobe Bryant's past sexual assault case in an interview right after his death. The internet exploded, twisting a short clip out of context. The pain was clear on Gayle's face when she addressed it later. It was a harsh reminder of how fast kindness can get twisted in the social media age. Still, she didn't retreat. She kept showing up, asking tough questions, and holding her head high in an industry that rarely gives women room to be human. Her persistence paid off big time. By 2019, she was earning $11 million a year at CBS, matching her male co-anchors. Time magazine named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world, but behind the awards, Gayle was exhausting herself. The 4 a.m. wake-ups, the non-stop grind, the pressure of representing culture. It was all starting to wear her down. She was, as she'd later admit, trying to figure out how to balance what I give to the world with what I keep for myself. And very soon that balance would become everything, the weight loss that hid something deeper. In 2024, Gayle King shocked everyone when she appeared at a New York premiere looking thinner, glowing, and happy in a white dress that showed off her new figure. Cameras flashed, headlines exploded, and social media went crazy. People praised her transformation, guessed about weight loss drugs, and compared her to her best friend Oprah, who had admitted using medication to lose weight. Gayle stayed quiet, and that silence, unusual for such an open person, only made people more curious. She made jokes on air about eating cheeseburgers before shows and working out 5 to 6 days a week. But people close to her noticed something wasn't right. Her smile looked thinner. Her eyes looked tired. Then came her essay on mental health in May 2022. Written after the tragic suicide of former Miss USA Cheslie Kryst. Gayle's RDS were chilling. She wrote about hidden pain, about people smiling through suffering, about how close we all are to breaking. For the first time, fans wondered. Was she talking about herself? As 2023 turned into 2024, Gayle started missing appearances. She was on screen less. Colleagues whispered about her health, about how she winced when standing up, how she needed longer breaks between segments. CBS called it scheduled time off, but insiders told a different story. She had broken down crying during a commercial break. She had received unexpected medical news, and off-camera, her inner circle, especially Oprah and her kids, were protecting her fiercely, trying to shield her privacy while quietly preparing for what might come next. The diagnosis and the decisions that followed. When the news finally broke that Gayle had been hit with a serious but unnamed health condition, fans were devastated. Nobody knew the exact details, only that it had turned her life upside down. The once tireless host began questioning everything: her schedule, her commitments, her future. She kept hosting CBS mornings as long as she could, her professionalism rock solid. But those closest to her saw the exhaustion. Oprah stayed by her side the whole time, quietly attending doctor visits, pushing back against public pressure, reminding her that health comes first. At the same time, CBS was going through massive changes, budget cuts, restructuring, and uncertainty about the network's future. The move from the Times Square studio felt like a personal blow. For a woman who had held CBS together through scandals and leadership changes, the downgrade hurt deeply. She deserved way more respect. One insider said Gayle, always a fighter, made it clear she wouldn't be sidelined. Still, something inside her shifted. The diagnosis forced her to look beyond ratings and deadlines, to see the value in ample moments. By 2025, she began stepping back quietly, putting her health, her family, and her peace first. Yet, even as she slowed down, Gayle found new fire. That same year, she was chosen for Blue Origin's historic all-female space flight, a powerful mission symbolizing courage, recovery, and reaching higher. At 70, Gayle was preparing to leave the ground, literally and figuratively, for something greater. For her, this wasn't escape. It was a statement. Life doesn't end after pain. It changes. The family that keeps her grounded. Through everything, Gayle's kids have been her anchor. Kirby, now 39, married Virgil Miller in 2020 in an intimate ceremony at Oprah's Santa Barbara home. In 2021, she gave birth to a boy, Luca. Gayle's first grandchild. Gayle's voice cracked with joy when she announced it on air. "I wanted to be a grandma for so long," she said. "It's something when you see your child become a parent." Her son, William Jr., now 37, built a successful career in finance and social impact, and in 2024, he married Elise Smith, again at Oprah's house. Gayle called it one of the best days of my life. These milestones gave her comfort and perspective. As her health challenges continued, family became everything. Her daughter's strength as a mom, her son's happiness in marriage, her grandson's laughter, they reminded her that legacy isn't built on studios or headlines, but in love that lasts beyond them. For Gayle, it was no longer about the next show. It was about showing up, saying thank you, and being free to live her remaining days her way. Gayle King spent her career telling the world stories. But now, the world is watching hers unfold. Her courage, her silence, and her strength have spoken louder than any headline ever could. What would you do if life forced you to slow down, to choose between success and peace? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories of strength and resilience.